Hey guys, this is Hot Noob here, and this is day 3 for developing codename SSG. Um, yeah, so I'm just going to go over the changes I've made, the additions. Um, yeah, so first of all, obviously you can see I've got events here. I'll just run this first and then go through everything else later for the people who don't care about the technicals. So basically I added events and stuff. As you can see, my mouse, when my mouse goes over and out, etc., right? It works pretty smoothly. And yeah, I did the whole mouse handling thing manually. Um, yeah, I mean, it's gonna make it harder for botters to to use the game or to bot for the game because of the actual mouse, so you can't do any hidden shit on it, which is good. And as you notice, I've added layers to the particle effects. So well, pretty much you can put stuff over the particle effects, right? Anyway, I'll just go more into the code part. I'll start off with the XML. Didn't really change much here. I just added a couple parameters and stuff, or attributes. I decided to go just, without the whole bracket thing. So you have the on mouse enter, and then you have the on mouse enter parameters. I think I don't know, I'll have to see later, but I'm not sure if I'll have to add in multiple functions, but for multiple functions I'm probably just going to put that in, right, and then put another function name in here, and then for the parameters do the same for that. Right. The parameters are standard, right? If you want more than one parameter, put another comma. The reason for doing that is just because, to make it easier to use, like on the programming side, it would have just been a lot of hassle, like hassle for no real reason, just to put it in the standard JavaScript format or whatever that everyone's used to, right? To do something like that. Right. Okay. I'm going to go into the code now. To get the particle effects to load on a different layer, basically all I did was I added an... Actually, I should go to the structures first. Your object. Here we are. So basically all I did was add a boolean for particles and an integer for particle ID, and the particle ID is just the array index, right, for the particles or the particle object, right? The particle object is just another global array or list. And I made a massive change with underline programming. I don't know why, it just took me forever to figure it out, right? It's the dumbest, most simple thing. I was trying to think of how to reference a reference, right? To re-reference something. And, it's just like the dumbest thing ever. And then it just hit me, copy the reference, right? I was trying to figure out how to copy a pointer using some special method, and then, it's just plain old stupid. So the solution, I'll go up to the draw feature here. The solution was to just make a copy of the reference object, right? As stupid as that sounds, it makes a lot of sense, right? So you go to structures. I'm just gonna go here to show you guys what it is. So basically the reference object is just a reference to a render object, right? That's all there is to it. And so that makes it actually very, very small, and actually makes it a lot faster to use for loading, but it does have a slowdown setback for the whole display and stuff when you're drawing the objects, but it's not that great. So I know it looks pretty heavy with the loading, right? Because pretty much every time you move an object or something, or you want to hide an object. I think, yeah, every time you want to hide an object, you need to call this one function here, and it's in the draw. So you need to call this update active render objects, and it looks extremely heavy, right? It's creating 3 arrays right off the bat, right? And then or 3 lists, and then it adds all this stuff, and then it converts them all to arrays, right? It seems really heavy, doesn't it? But I'm going to show you guys the speed tests I've done here. Update. So this is just a simple speed test. I've run the function 10,000 times in a row, and it'll show you how long it takes to do. So whoops. Okay. Okay, you guys sort of missed that, but basically it said it took 11 milliseconds to load this little 1,000 times. The biggest bottleneck for the loading so far, in my opinion, is the loading of the textures, and I haven't done many speed tests on the XML yet, or I haven't done any at all, right? Actually, I could do that right now, so update. So all of this here would just be a loading of XML, so start time test, XML loading, and time test, and it's gonna go here so I don't get that whole console thing spamming there, so you guys can see the results. So there you go. XML loading takes 115 milliseconds, right? And then overall, like, the total loading takes 363 milliseconds, right? So the XML isn't very efficient, obviously. So that's a big, thing there. But I mean, yeah. Just doing sort of what all the larger companies do. They prefer comfort over performance sometimes. So that's pretty much all there is to it with day 3 here. I guess I could go over the events. Obviously, it's pretty simple. It checks for if the cursor's moved before doing all this extra crap, and then it just checks the coordinates of all of the objects with an on move thing, right? I haven't added in the on click event, but obviously that's a lot easier to do than an on mouse enter and on mouse exit. And then I'm probably also going to do a mouse move or a mouse over on mouse move, probably I'll call it that, on mouse move event. But I don't really know if there's a real need for it. Actually, I will need it. We'll need that event, but much later on. So there you go. You guys got a nice little insight now of game engines and how much work is behind them. I mean, I haven't actually put in that much. I think in total probably about 12 hours so far, so it's not too bad. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. You can come check out my blog at hotnoob.com.